Okay, so the first thing is people who talk on the phone when they're going through drive-thru. Speakers pick up everything, and whether you know it or not, on the other side of that speaker is a person who just heard your entire conversation, and you're wasting my time. Another thing that also drives me insane is people who speak from the passenger seat. You are a farther distance away from the speaker, and chances are my building has 2 lanes. So if you're speaking from the passenger seat, chances are the other lane is picking you up, not mine. You're not as close to my speaker as you think. People in the driver's seat, if the person in the passenger side seat wants food, repeat what they said, because chances are the speakers aren't going to be great enough to pick them up because they're not talking very loudly. And it's not my fault if I don't hear them, because they're just speakers. I'm only human. I can only hear what is being directed in my ear, and if the speakers don't pick it up, I don't hear it. People who come through the drive-thru and stare at the menu for 20 minutes. If you don't know what the hell we serve, then come inside and look at the menus there, because then you're not running our clock. People who don't work in fast food, you probably don't know the fact that everything we do is timed, and we get yelled at if our times take forever. So, from the time you roll up and you trigger our speakers, we are being timed. If you run my time up to 20 minutes, I'm going to get yelled at for it. So if you don't know what we serve, don't come through the drive-thru. We are more than happy to help you inside where you can stare at the menu for 20 minutes, because then the clocks don't get triggered until we start entering your food. Okay, honestly, we do have signs everywhere telling people to have their money ready by the time they get to the first window, and I understand sometimes you don't really hear what the price is, but we do have screens. At the drive-thru, if you can't hear me, I will be the first person to admit I talk really fast. Sometimes people don't understand me. But if you can't hear me, you can always ask me to repeat that. I'm human. I'm not a machine. I will repeat things for you. But if you don't know what your price is, there is a screen there that will tell you exactly what you ordered and what the total is. Please utilize these screens. For another problem that drives me insane, people who don't know what they ordered, okay? I can understand. I will be the first person to admit I don't hear stuff all the time. My hearing is terrible. Sometimes you will say something to me, the speaker will not project it as loudly into my ears as it probably should, and I will miss it. But if you don't think I got something, you could ask me. You can ask me. I'm human. Again, I can respond. You can ask me if I got it. And if you want to be completely sure, again, utilize those screens that project your entire order for you to look at. There are a lot of regulars at a lot of fast food places. It's convenient. I will be the first to admit I go to fast food places a lot, probably more than I should. But if you know exactly what you're getting, and you know exactly how much it costs because you get it every single day, I should not have to wait for 20 minutes for you to whip out your wallet and count your money. If I get the same thing every time I go. I know my total is $2.96 every single time I go. I have my $3 ready by the time I get to the first window because I don't have to question how much I owe. If you're a regular, at least have your money ready. Okay, I know people like to do this thing where they have their cash ready, they throw it at me, and they drive away, but a lot of the times, if you are giving me change, it is probably wrong. And then my drawer's short and I get in trouble. So you know what? Unless you're absolutely 100% fucking sure that your change is perfect, don't drive away, because chances are you're short, and I'm gonna ask you for that one fucking nickel you forgot, so that I don't get in trouble because my drawer's short. Do not immediately drive away unless you know you're over. Because, I had this one guy today his was like $4.98. He was good. He gave me a $5 bill and he left. Fine. But if yours is like $4.67, let me at least count to make sure all that 67 cents that you handed me from your glove compartment is there, okay? Don't immediately drive away. Do not yell at me when you get to my window. I will kill you. I had this one guy come through yesterday, and his meal was wrong. And then he comes to my window and starts screaming at me about how it's wrong. And he came to the speaker first and he was like, my sandwich is wrong. I got bacon. I wanted sausage. I told him, bring your sandwich to the first window. We'll replace it. No problem. He comes to my window, gives me the sandwich, repeats what he wants. I take it back to the kitchen. I tell them, you need to change this for this. And then send it through. They fix it. I bring it back to him. I'm like, here you go. And then he follows it up with, it was your fault, not mine. Well, you got your damn sandwich. Get the fuck out of my window. I am a human being. I corrected it for you. There's no need to fucking yell at me. And I try to be nice to people. I really, really do. But when you're a dick, I'm gonna be a dick back, okay? Fuck off. Same goes for the people who pay me in fucking nickels, okay? Don't do that. Like, if your thing is like $4, do not pay me in fucking nickels. That is annoying, because I have to count all of those, and chances are you didn't count right, and there's probably a nickel or two missing. Easy mistake, honestly, but then you just threw your money at me and left, and I had to count it, and I realized you're short, and now my drawer's short, so fuck off. And another reason is because all of the coins are in a machine attached to the fucking wall that releases the change that I need for me. If you give me 1,000,000 fucking nickels, I need to put them all in that goddamn machine. That's annoying. And it's not so bad, because if people, like, if your change is like 12 cents, and you want to give me 12 cents, fine, that's like 3 coins that I need to put away. But if you have me put away $3 in fucking nickels, I'm gonna kill you. I repeat your price for you twice. Once when you complete your order at the speaker, and once when you show up at my window, and it is also projected on that goddamn screen that everybody likes to ignore. So when you come to my window, and after I've told you your price, you ask me what I owe you, I want to smack you. Because there are 3 different times that you are being told your total, and you ignore every single one. I hate you. Also, if I tell you the wrong price, realize that I'm looking at the totals for probably about 12 different cars. So sometimes I do read the wrong ones. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do not let me ring you up for the wrong thing. Because people do that. Like, someone will come in and they'll buy $2.12 worth of shit, and then a car that looks exactly the same as them will buy like $15.76 worth of shit. If I read you the $16.76 and it doesn't sound right, say something. Because then if you don't say anything and you just hand over like a $20 bill, which people do all the time, if you hand me a $20 bill and I've read you the $15.76 price, and you don't say anything, I'm gonna ring you up for that because you didn't correct me. Correct me. Because please understand, I do look at like a bunch of different prices at the same time, and all I have to go on is what the front of your car looks like. If there is more than the same one of the same kind of make of car, I may get confused. Especially considering we have 2 lanes, and cars get flipped all the time. So if I read you the wrong price, correct me. I'm not going to be offended, because it's more work for me in the long run to have to fix messing up because you didn't say anything. As much as I love the really pleasant people who come through, I don't always have time to stop and talk to you. I don't. Because I have you in my window, I'm talking to another customer on the headset, and chances are my boss is probably yelling at me through the headset too. So please forgive me for not being as polite as I probably should be. But if I have 3 people talking to me at once, I will only hear one person, and chances are it's going to be the person talking in the speaker out on the drive-thru. Not because I'm trying to be rude, but because that's how it works. Okay? We were taught from day one, in drive-thru, if you have someone at your window and someone speaking in your headset, always listen to the person in the headset first. Because honestly, it does come down to money for the business. And if you're at my window, you've committed to your food enough to get here and give me your money. You can wait around. The person up at the speaker, they're not committed to anything. They haven't placed an order. They haven't committed to any food. If we don't focus on them first, they can leave, and then we lose money. That's what it comes down to, though. So please forgive people like me for being frazzled and being frustrated, because there are so many rude people. For every one nice and really pleasant person who comes to drive through, there's probably 5 or 6 really rude and unpleasant people who make me want to flip tables who came through before you. So forgive me if I'm frustrated, because chances are I am. And I mean, don't get me wrong as I'm saying all of this, because I do like my job. I mean, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy all the really pleasant people. Like, all the regulars are great people, and I love working for them. Because they're the people who make, like, doing this crappy kind of mediocre job worthwhile. That and the people who I work with who are also great people. And, you know, sometimes the job can just get frustrating. Because, here's the thing, I deal with probably about 2,000 people a day. Probably. 2,000 people. And forgive me if I don't remember every single one of your names. And forgive me if I mess up. I am only human. Don't yell at me for it, because I can easily fix whatever I fucked up on, okay? There's no need to yell. And forgive me if I ask you 14 times to repeat something. Chances are someone at the window was talking to me and complaining about something. Chances are my boss was speaking over you in my ear. He does that a lot. And I am also partially deaf in both ears, so please forgive me if I just don't hear it, because a lot of people who come through do have really quiet voices, and for every one person who will scream at the speaker, there are 5 or 6 who will talk really quietly in their normal voices, and the speaker doesn't always pick it up as well as it probably should. So forgive me for being human. And one thing I can't stress enough is that I am only human, that the entire system is being operated by people, not machines, so there is bound to be some inaccuracies at some point. Forgive that, okay? And the fact of the matter is, we're trying to make your food in under a minute. That is the target time, under a minute. And so the fact of the matter is, that doesn't always happen. And we try to make it happen. We get timed for everything we do, but it doesn't happen. So sometimes we do have to park cars and tell them we'll bring your food out to you when it's done. We do have to run up the clocks, and as annoying as that can be, because then we get yelled about it later. But we do try to do our best on everything, and sometimes, yeah, shit gets fucked up. Don't scream about it though, because you know what? Every day this week I've gone in at 6 o'clock in the morning to serve people who come through the drive-thru. And I understand, 7 o'clock in the morning, you're tired, you're cranky, you just woke up, you want your coffee. I've already been here working for about a dozen other people like you, because the mornings are slow. So please, you know what? Accept the fact that as tired and as cranky as you might be, acknowledge the fact that the people working in these fast food restaurants that you go to are just as tired and just as cranky and have been dealing with tired and cranky people all day. Be nice to them.